Hey everybody, Brian here from quantlabs.net. Hopefully you've checked out my previous video on how I was able to basically use Matlab Guide to generate a Matlab GUI in Ubuntu Linux with Java. So just go to my channel and check it out because I'm able to generate Java jar files in Matlab on Ubuntu Linux, and that's for cross-platform deployment across all major OSs, including Windows, Linux, and Mac OS X. Alright, so as I said in my previous video, I wanted to investigate the C and C++ side for being able to generate libraries with GUI with the GUI in mind from Matlab Guide. I've shown you how to use that, like I said in the previous video. So I'm going to focus on just the C++. So once you develop your guide, you can then use the deploy tool and create your standalone, your shared library. But I just want to give you some facts and figures about this Java versus C++ debate. Once upon a time, a few weeks ago, I came across, wanted to call Java from C++ using GNI. Now, okay, that sounds all good, but the interesting set of facts is this guy ran some tests on how fast were the calls. Now, using his Core i7, I don't know if it's Windows, Linux, or whatever. I'm going to assume it's Windows because this is an uncoded project, which is for Microsoft. So in this case, what he did was call Java from Java. It's 14 nanoseconds per iteration. I care about this. But the interesting thing is that C++ 100% native, which I'm assuming is doing something similar, is 2 nanoseconds per iteration versus 14 nanoseconds per iteration on the Java front. So you need to ask yourself if you're really going to split hairs on the C++ versus Java. I think this little statistics, if you were to believe it, and it was to say correct, I think obviously C++ wins here, without a doubt. So that brings me to the Linux with MATLAB generating a standalone C++. So I'm almost saying standalone, shared library. Really important stuff. Alright, so let's check it out. This is what's general. I'll show you how to do this in a minute, but it's going to go through the complete process, so it does work because it finished. Yay. And what it's going to generate, it's going to generate an SO file, which is equivalent of an object file, a header file, and some document, a little text file, like a README. So what I've done was I took my little test guide with the figure. When I package it up, calling deploy tool. So what we're doing really is the choice that we're choosing is we are using C++ shared library. And again, you can do the C shared library, but in this case, I'm not going to worry about it. I probably would rather stick with shared library because I really don't need the object-oriented programming part of C++ and just the complexities that it brings. I like my C, very simple language. Anyways, back to this. So when you bring up your deploy tool, you'll be brought to this. In my case, we added the test guide, MATLAB mscript. We added the figure file for the guide figure. And then we just go package, and here we are. It generates all this fun stuff. So this is the folder it all gets generated in. So we have our source code, and then we have our distribution. Now, if I look at the distribution, I'll just pull up the document here, the TextMe file. So this is for the MCR, MATLAB compile runtime. I've gone through it enough, how to install it, blah, blah, blah. Let me just see, where are the, here we go. This is the name of the file. So this gets generated as the object file. This is the header file that you use to call your the functions within the C, and then that will then obviously, or C++ now call the actual interface. I'm assuming. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just showing you that it can be generated. At some point I'll probably obviously try it out. So when you take a look at the header file here, what we have here is some usual C++. Now this is all generated by this deploy tool. But here's the interesting thing. These are the functions that you need to call from within your C++, your test client code. So you're going to call this, this, and probably this. Or these are just different variations of it. But you call this. So let's take a look at what this function within Matlab contains. So if I test, hang on here. Let me just get to the right path within my Matlab settings. Okay. Hang on here. We want. Oh no. Dear, oh dear, I am not doing too good today. Here, this is what we want. Test guide. Okay, here we go. There we go. So, when you look at the function, there's varying arguments for the Matlab function. So, even though you have these different variations, you can use any of these, or just not use anything and just use no parameters at all for your C++. So at the end of the day, this does get generated, and I'm going to assume it works for now. I will at some point put up a video and test it out, but the only thing I really cared about was just to see if you could generate a shared library, and it does work from within Linux with Matlab, and it works, or it generates, I should say. So for now, I'm pretty happy with that as it is, and now the last step is to generate a standalone app and see what I can come up with and see if that works. Okay, so wish me luck, and I'll put up a video on that. Over and out. Talk to you later.